Welcome back to the Prepared School Psych Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Ponzuric. Today, I am tackling part 2 in our mini series on overlapping eligibilities. If you missed the first episode, you may want to pause and go listen to that one first so that you can make sure you know what I mean by this term, overlapping eligibilities. But let's just face it, I'm not the boss of you, and if you want to jump directly into episode 2, let's do it. When we have more than one area of eligibility we are considering for a student, and there appears to be some overlap in the criteria, one of the first things I find to be important is to really understand the eligibility criteria for each classification the team is considering. Some states' language for eligibility criteria is very specific. One of the resources I am creating inside the Prepared School Site community this year are eligibility checklists. Each month, I'm unveiling a new one, and to help me create these checklists, I have been reviewing different states' language related to special education eligibility criteria. Some states refer to this as regulation language, while here in California, we refer to it as California Education Code. Whatever you call it. Some states are incredible in the specificity of eligibility criteria, while other states, let's face it, give us some vague language. I'm going to raise my hand right now and say that frequently, I find the language surrounding eligibility criteria for my state to be a bit vague. A couple of definitions for the different words would be awesome. What exactly did the authors of Other Health Impairment mean by strength, vitality, I know alertness? In ED, what exactly is meant by inappropriate behaviors under normal circumstances? Some of you listening have been in the field for a long time, and you really understand the criteria quite well. Some of you are newer to the field and might have some questions. Some have been around for a while, and we still question whether or not we're doing this right. This is honestly one of the reasons why I decided to create the eligibility checklist for the Prepared School Psych members. We have so many questions about so many things in our field, and we all want to make sure that we are doing this right. So, the first step when you have overlapping eligibilities that you are considering is to understand the eligibility criteria. If you are unclear, please ask for help. Ask a colleague in your district. Students, ask your supervisor or university professor to explain it again. Come hang out with us inside the Prepared School Psych community. We have resources for each area of eligibility, plus live office hours with me and my 4 additional content specialists each month. If you have never tried out the community, feel free to try it out for a few weeks at no cost by going to my website, jennyponzuric.com/podcast, and following the directions to get free access. Check out all of our resources while you're there. Now, one of the popular questions I get during trainings with psychologists is, do I have to administer fill in the blank? Fill in the blank of a name of a standardized test or a cool rating scale. Do I have to administer this when I'm considering a specific area of eligibility? For example, do you have to give the ADOS when you're looking at autism? Or do you have to give a specific type of rating scale when you're looking at ED? My current answer is this. Will that tool help you answer the questions you have about the student? When you get to the eligibility section of the report, which you're often writing at 10 o'clock at night, the night before the IEP meeting, you want to make sure you have all of your data lined up to respond to each of the criteria. When you have a really good understanding about the eligibility criteria, you have questions, a set of questions you know you need to have the data to be able to respond to those. When you have more than one area of eligibility you are considering, and I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time I only considered a single area of eligibility for a student lately. Students are complex and they are presenting with a number of concerns that prompt the IEP team to consider multiple areas of eligibility. So, you have more than one area of eligibility that you are considering. When you are writing up the eligibility section, really focus on responding to each criterion. Have the data ready to help you respond. That is going to be a key step when you're looking at each of these eligibility classifications for your student, especially when you have eligibility criteria for two different classifications that seem kind of similar. Okay, this is just step one. No worries, as we're going to get to the next step in our next podcast episode. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it. Until that time, if you've been listening and you are looking for some concrete examples of eligibility write-ups and explaining different eligibility criteria aloud in a meeting, these are just a few of the things that I'm going to be sharing in a two-part series inside the Prepared School Site community in early 2025. Yes, we're going to walk through examples, share different ways I write up eligibility statements in my reports. If you're already a member of the Prepared School Site community, awesome. Watch your Monday emails for all the details. Mark your calendars if you want to join us live. If you're not yet a Prepared School Site community member, now is the time to join. If this is going to be helpful for you, you will get access to this two-part live training and the replay if you have already made other plans that day. Plus, you get all of our resources, video replays, and access to me and my 4 content specialists who are all there to answer your questions. Check out the link inside the show notes and become a member today to get access to this two-part training. I am going to talk to you soon in part 3 of this podcast mini-series. Until then, have a great day.
That concludes another episode of the Prepared School Site podcast. And I hope today's discussion equipped you not just with knowledge, but also the confidence to take action. Remember, every conversation we have and every resource we share builds a bridge towards a more inclusive and empowering learning landscape for our students. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more insightful conversations and resources to support your journey. Share this podcast with colleagues. We would love it if you would also rate and review the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder, everyone, the information and advice provided in this podcast are for guidance purposes only, and all listeners are required to follow both federal and state law and their own school district guidelines and policies. Thank you.